Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Toku Portal podcast. I'm Ryan. With me is,
Drago.
and today we are doing our part one of our big Power Rangers Beast Morphers podcast for season two. Uh, because we were watching the episodes and we realized there really wasn't enough to discuss to keep doing them week by week.
Yeah, it's this time. It's not like last season where the first half had a plot that was going on, like there was a through line in the first half where it is building up to something. Here it is building up to something, but you don't realize it until. But it just feels like there's no MacGuffin or anything like that. They're building up. It's just building up to reveal. And that was sort of disappointing because it just feels like a step down when it should be a step up in season two.
So, I have a question for you. When
Yeah.
did the production crew change? Or has
Okay.
that not happened yet?
So okay. The I think this year the entertainment one is taking over the Beast Morphers. What do you call it? Not Beast Morphers. Power Rangers entire uh, production, but since all the people from I think people from New Zealand will be the same, but I think all the other people like Triple M is stepping down, uh, and and like someone I think the guy who directed the first episode of Beast Morphers is taking over as the creative director. He's a big director from he's a sort of really big director from New Zealand. I think that's fine. Um, and I think the writers are getting changed as well.
Oof. Well, uh, we already did our podcast on the first two episodes, but why don't we, briefly restate our thoughts on those ones? Um,
The first one had good action, but there was not enough to actually, and it was funny, sort of. It was not enough to actually keep me engaged. It just felt like half an episode.
right.
Um,
So
the
you,
second one was okay.
I was gonna say for the first one, you've got Steel like being like, "Oh, I'm pretty sure Scrozzle is still around, and so Evox is back," and his crazy conspiracy board, and no one believes him until they find out that he's right.
Yeah, yeah, it's not that they find out that he's right, but since he believes everything that's on the internet, he mixes up the real facts and the what do you call it,
The
and crazy
myth,
conspiracy nut
yeah,
things, and and that was really actually kind of hilarious, and it just made me realize that in real life as well, there are a lot of conspiracy theories. Since there are a lot of really bad conspiracy theories and good ones which have legs to stand on, but because people believe the bad ones as well, you don't tend to take the ones which have a leg seriously, and that is kind of I don't know. That kind of was a subliminal hidden message that I really enjoyed later on, like after thinking about it enough. But other than that, it had a good action with episode battle, but it just felt like half an episode.
right. And so moving on to episode two, we got another Save the Environment episode, and in my opinion, it's not as good as the last one that we got.
Yeah, because the last one actually provided a solution.
Like
Yeah,
one of my problems with this one is when the lady is like, okay, look, we're doing our part in picking up the trash that we spilled, but we can't afford to save every animal in the sea, and walks off. And then I think it's Zoe who's just like, oh, she doesn't think it's her responsibility. It's like, because it's not.
yeah, no, no, okay. There's the thing is this entire. episode is it's just that this entire situation with the environment is complicated, and she's just boiling it down to just whether it is her responsibility or not is it's kind of in a gray area because
Like,
a lot of there are a lot of stuff that you can do which is cheap and efficient to save the environment, and corporations can also help with that since some of the problems that they themselves cause for the environment that is bad for the environment. But on the other hand, a lot of if it's a small time business or anything something like that, then they really don't have any way to help and still stay afloat. So yeah,
like,
it is
like
complicated.
the company spilled a bunch of trash, and that was really bad, and it's harmful to the environment. And they're doing their part in, funding the efforts to clean that trash up. But like, to expect them to care for every single animal that was harmed by it seems a bit excessive.
Yeah, it is fair. If the hard, let's say this was yeah, it's there. It just goes into uncharted territory for Power Rangers as well because if you are gonna write that kind of episode, then just write it better.
Okay. So getting into some new stuff here, we've got episode 3, Game On, where Devin enters a video game tournament that uses holograms for the fighting characters, and his opponent in the championship round exploits a glitch that freezes his character up, but then Monster Attack like kind of disrupts the tournament, so they have to do a rematch.
Okay, this episode have complicated feelings over like the previous one, but it's just that okay, they are using real life fighting game things, but just futuristic, which I'm okay with because this the aspect that Devon plays games, while has been told, hasn't been shown as much, and I like that they're showing it, and I really enjoy half the episode, like exploiting glitch to fight the opponent. That
Right.
was yeah, that is something that even happens in real life tournaments. But to show moral grandstanding for that, and also the fact that which I am like, really, and that's where like I had a question mark on my head, and then also the fact that Devin won in the end instead of just allowing the other person to win, so that for the message that you need to cheat to win would have been a lot stronger. And the third thing is that I really enjoyed most of the episode, but but like there are a lot of things that bothered me, like what do you call it? Okay, the kid that the she had a brother who had physical disabilities.
Right.
I
She was trying to win the prize money for his surgery because every fucking tournament that has a prize money has to have some kid with an illness.
Yeah, and that's what bothered me a lot. If they had just left it at that, just not said anything about it, just left it implication, that would have been perfectly fine. But straight up telling it is that's where like it's so close to being really good episode, but Tu's details really hold it back.
Right, like I feel like the attempt to make it morally gray of like I'm cheating but for a good reason just held it back.
Yeah,
Especially with how on the nose it was with the writing, like the writing this season has just been pretty choppy.
it's like you are really good in one episode, and then go back down to really mediocre the next. That's strange.
Uh, so like I do like they're like, all right, so like you said, the monster is based off of the game, and so they're exploiting the same glitch because the girl tells them about it. But man, what a dumb glitch! Like, oh, if you hit your opponent like twice across the chest and whatever, like on each shoulder, like it freezes them up. Like, why? Like, I get
The
the whole
game was badly made. It
like
was
like
Super Smash
I
Brothers made like this.
I get that like these weird bugs show up from time to time in like games, and it's like, but like there's always a reason for them, like clipping through walls or solid objects. Like, I guess there's sometimes not like the reason for it isn't clear, but like hitting your opponent's character in this exact specific sequence freezes them up.
You know, to be
It's,
honest, those kind of glitches do happen in fighting games. It is sort of realistic. Wouldn't say it is not, because entire Super Smash Brothers Melee game is Melee games competitive scene is based.
oh yeah, it's based around playing with broken controllers to exploit bugs in the game that people are now calling features. Melee is a broken game. Moving on. Um, anything about this episode? I like Drago. Are you trying to talk? Cause you've been quiet. Yeah, okay. I can't hear Drago anymore. So that is something that is going to need to be figured out real quick. So so this episode is just so on the nose when like, all right, so the girl goes to meet the Power Rangers to explain them like, oh, you can exploit this bug in the game to defeat the monster, and then Devin, his ranger, so is just like, wait a second, how did you know about that bug? Like, oh, you didn't win that tournament, Jay. You were gonna win by cheating. It's like it's just so in your face about it. It's like a Saturday like after school special or something. I don't know. I'm just trying to stall time until Drago can talk again. Alright, so Drago still cannot talk. Great. There you go. He's disconnected, so hopefully when he gets back, he'll be able to talk again, and we can proceed with this conversation. This is why I don't do solo podcast. I don't know what to say. I'm sure I could do one if like I really just sat down with like this is specifically what I'm talking about, and like I pre-planned like all my talking points and such, but I walked into this podcast expecting to be able to talk with someone else, and now I don't have someone else to talk with. The action in these episodes have been pretty all right, pretty good. Oh, I forgot about the subplot where like Betty, there's this there's this like dance machine where like it projects a hologram of like a dance instructor, and so like he can teach you how to dance, and Betty develops a crush on him for some reason, and like goes on a date with him. But like she tries to get him to know him better, but all he wants to talk about is dancing because that's literally what he was programmed for. uh And so Betty just kind of gets sick of him, but he insists on dancing with her because, again, that's what it's programmed for. And that's when Ben kind of like steps in defender of like, hey, she said to back off, and gets into a fight with a hologram. And to be quite honest, it's been pretty clear that they haven't known what to do with Ben and Betty at all this season. This was probably the most amusing thing to come of it. Uh, but like, you get like their usual gags, and like it's not that they're any less absurd than season one. It's so much as that like they're just not as well executed. Uh, hey, Drago.
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry, power had gone out, so
All right. Well, is everything okay?
yeah, the internet took time to start. That was the reason why.
All right. So I was just talking to myself about how Betty developed a crush on a hologram, and then when she got sick of him, Ben got into a fight with it.
That was one of the best comedy bits I've seen from you.
like legit, like this season has been pretty clear that they haven't known what to do with Ben and Betty, but this was spot on.
Yeah, and it also really was hilarious that I realized it at that point when he was fight when the hologram was fighting Ben that guy was a former Power Rangers actor.
Oh my god, what?
Yeah, he was the Black Ranger from Dino Charge.
Oh, oh, and like he's all ready to throw down with Ben too. Like, oh, you gonna stand up to me? Bring it! And then Ben immediately just like, nope, and turns off the game. Oh.
uh,
So you know what? This episode wasn't all bad.
yeah, it wasn't. It was just close to being good.
Oh, just a few, just a few things to be changed. Like a lot of them to do with the dialogue.
Yeah, and dialogue, no, one dialogue and one outcome basically.
So, artist anonymous. Ravi illegally paints a mural on a building set to be demolished. And then when his mom catches him, he's like, "Oh, it wasn't me." But then the painting becomes super famous, and so Evox is like, "Hey, let's send down a fake artist to take credit for it, so that he can paint explosive paint all over Grid Battle Force."
Okay, I really like this episode, except the first part. The villain having power to open any lock would have been enough. Why did they have to use the painting bullshit in the end? That was just my question.
I don't know, but like this episode was the one for me where like, all right, Evox is also possessing the body of the mayor, and he takes advantage of it. Or it's like, yeah,
Yeah,
Commander Shaw, we should, paint Grid Battle Force. I think that would be a nice appeal to the public, and it's explosive paint. Like I think this was the episode for me where it's like, yeah, okay, Evox is taking advantage of this situation.
yeah, and it was it was really good episode as well. Like I really like the charm that the fact that Ravi's inner conflict with his mom got resolved, and it wasn't like Robbie wasn't at the fault, and that the commander admits that she was the one who was wrong to make him feel that way, and it was really, I really like that. I appreciate and how it also went into the detail about how Robbie has gotten into the pattern of lying so much that he forgets that his friends already know, and it's become a habit.
Well, yeah, I forgot about that. He continues to lie to the people that already know he does art.
Yeah.
Now that you mention it again, like I distinctly remember watching that scene, being like, "Ravi, what are you doing?"
And was super bad for him though. It was really that was really really good way to demonstrate that.
Oh,
And I really like the fact that the artist the when the Robotron becomes the artist, he is just portrayed by Kelvin Henderson, the guy who played Boom in SPD.
oh, oh! Gotta get
And
that once per
it,
season cameo in.
yeah, he's already voicing Cruz, so he gotta
Yeah,
do
but like
something.
this was a physical appearance.
Yeah. Oh man, like I really like even the stereotype of the artist because it was because the mayor is like, what did you become?
You
The
know,
mayor Evox when he had transformed.
you know, Now that I'm talking to you about it, like this season hasn't been as bad as it felt when I was watching the episodes. Still a bit under par, though.
It is under par. I admit. Like especially the first three episodes is where like I take a lot of issue with this season. The latter four, like there's only like one or two like not great episodes, but okay. But yeah, this one was really really good. I also like the fact that the entire thing is predicated on the fact that Ravi is not gonna no Ravi is not what do you call it brave enough to tell his mom.
He has a thing about authority.
Yeah, he has a thing about authority, and also the fact, and it also gives us really good insight to Ravi. Like since he was little, he was practically indoctrinated to become a military guy. So like putting his mom putting him in uniforms and crap, and I'm like, oh, that got serious. and and also when Nate and not Nate, so when Ravi and his mom when Ravi was telling his mom something, the Robotron immediately wanted to douse the Rangers with explosive paint.
uh,
That was a smart plan though.
uh,
and and like and then the commanders not commander sorry the mayor is like the Robotron, I didn't expect this. It's something
right.
along those
He
lines.
had the perfect out too because, like, oh, I am shocked, shocked. Ravi, how could you lie to us like this?
uh, I really like I really like the actor like acting like the as Evox.
You kind of cut out there. What was that?
And I really like that the actor is doing a great job with
Okay, you cut out again. But great job at portraying the character.
yeah the Evox pretending to be a mayor is just like just gold.
Right. So, uh, cruising for a bruising. Uh, the Rangers find out that Cruz is actually a pretty skilled shot. So they get the idea of like, hey, maybe he could help us in the field. And so Nate makes him some guns.
To sell more
Sorry, what was that?
to sell more toys.
Sell toys. That's right.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. So what are your thoughts about this episode?
so Cruz goes out in the field with them, and he's a pretty good shot, but he's also a little easily distracted. And he ends up getting captured by the monster. And so Devin feels really bad because he was the one pushing to put Cruz in active duty. Uh,
Hmm.
and like the whole monsters thing is like absorbing. uh, Cruz is like, oh, I can steal his power now. And so Nate gets the idea of like, hey, what if you guys can combine with your beast bots for power ups? So he
No,
builds
it
the.
was it, it was Devin who gave the idea because you just feel like, okay, it's just like a power up in a game.
Alright. So Nate builds the invention so Ravi and Zoe can combine with theirs, and then they have to free Cruz so that Devin can combine with his. And then they get the toy power ups.
And it was a pretty good episode. I had fun. It wasn't the most mind blowing episode for a power up debut. Like the I think the Fury mode episode was better,
Yeah,
but
but this has been my favorite episode this season so far.
okay. I really like this episode. It's not my favorite. I think I like the previous one a little better because I like character conflict a lot.
I liked seeing Cruz take the spotlight. I like seeing the B spot be an active part of the show, as thus far they have really been inconsequential.
Not really. It's just that they appear very rarely. Their episodes are great when they do things, but just they don't appear as constantly as they should. Just a middle ground between Go Busters and Beast Morphers would be the perfect amount of screen time.
Oh, you feel like Go Busters use them a bit too much?
Yeah, I that is my biggest gripe about that show is that I don't like the fact that the the body droids show up too much.
I kind
I find
of
them annoying.
I didn't. I actually enjoyed that they were active participants. They mattered to the show because they were involved, which is why it's so jarring to me how the little attention they get here.
It okay. Here, my I think I have the perfect thing. I no, I don't think that they get the little attention. It's just that they have the body roids are like their body roids are ever present in the show, but but here but the body roids are ever present in the show. While Beast Morpher in Beast Morpher the robots wait I forgot the name. What do they call Beast bots? Yeah. So the Beast bots, like they have focus episodes. They do have focus episodes, but the problem is that they are not just not ever present throughout the show. You don't see them often.
But that that's
That's
the that's the thing though, is that like in Go Busters, like uh Gorilla was always, checking on Blue Buster, like, hey, bringing him ice to make sure he didn't overheat. Or the Jackrabbit was always, making sure that Yellow had her snacks on her. Like, they were, doing everything they could to accommodate their Ranger's weaknesses. In this show, though, they are almost never seen outside of the Zord fights, and even then, you barely get the glimpse of them.
yeah, that's the thing. But only thing in again, it's my personal opinion. I think Global should do it to an annoying degree. Beast Morpher just does not do it enough. That's
That's pretty
my
much what I'm saying, is
opinion.
that this show doesn't use them enough.
Yeah, but I do like the fact that at least the Beast X mode has like cool power ups. I like the walking in the air and the blue gets reality warping abilities. Sorry, matter warping abilities, which was not the thing that there was there in Go Busters, but it's a cool addition.
It's something.
Yeah, I kind of like it. But yeah, the entire and I like the fact that the episode didn't have a Zord fight.
It didn't need one.
Yeah, and it's quite cool. Uh,
Um,
or
it,
am I? Or did it just get over in? Oh no.
you cut out there.
Oh, nothing. I thought maybe they just skimmed over the. I think I forgot the Zord. No, actually, the episode didn't have one.
Oh,
So
okay. Uh, anything else about this episode?
yeah, I do like I still like the fact that they're progressing technology like in a good pace, but I just wish that this power up idea thing, we some of the parts of it we could have seen in the previous episodes. Like Nate was already working on something, but just didn't have a power source.
Oh, kind of like
That
how
would have
in
made it.
season one we caught glimpses of Jay throughout, or Steel rather.
Yes, Steeler, and then also Fury Mode. We saw the claws way beforehand, and even in this season, we saw what do you call it, the gun. In a previous episode before they got introduced in
In this one,
the
yeah.
next one. Yeah. So that's I wish that there was more of a build up, a little at least. It didn't detract from the episode, but just it was doing really good with the power up building. It just missed the mark here, in my opinion.
All right, so the next episode is called "The Blame Game," and I don't remember this one.
Okay, this is one where Steel just thinks that Steel just becomes so stickler for the rules because he thinks that maybe like punish like for discipline. He just learns the concept of discipline and just takes it too far. And he basically
Oh, this was the episode that made me go, "This season isn't great." This was the episode
yeah
that like just made me go like, "Man, I am not having fun."
yeah this one was I just there was there were a few snippets of good stuff, but then I'm like I was so bored. Like none of the episodes, even if they were bad, have been boring. This was boring.
Like, okay, Steel doesn't understand punishments and overextends them. And also, they hypnotize and kidnap Nate for evil.
No, actually, they wanted. Uh,
The
Neither.
villains, they
No,
kidnapped Nate for something, didn't they?
yeah, they kidnap Nate so that they can give him data for to
Oh,
make the for the next episode actually.
oh, that's right. And then this one random security guard gets blamed for the
Yeah,
kidnapping, and Steel's like, "Do your job better," when it wasn't his fault.
I mean initially, yeah, the Steel was right to say that okay, yeah, the fact that the guard wasn't paying attention and checking doing his due diligence, that was fine. But like he kept on doing that, and that's where like I get like, yeah, this episode is kind of boring. I get what they were trying for, but it just didn't hit.
But yeah, in the end, they learn the truth. Steel learns his lesson and gets that guy his job back.
Yeah, I
Uh,
didn't want to talk about this episode. This episode was so boring.
so, Beast King Rampage. You remember that girl that, like, tried stealing Nate's job or something? I don't remember.
Yeah,
Uh,
Megan, I love
she she's
her so
she's been
much.
secretly working on a new Zord, the lion one, the lion
Yeah,
tricycle. And when they go to do the test run, uh, Blaze and Roxy infected with a virus so they can hijack it, and so they have to go and tame it again.
yeah, and I do like the fact that this was also again that's I really like character conflicts in this and then here like basically it's not that Megan is completely a good person. It's just that she realized, and she was never completely bad in the first place, but she realized that in the end she got a job that she is getting to build a sword instead of maintaining one, and she got to use her talents well. I that was and so she realized that how much of a bitch she was in the when how she treated Nate, and also the fact that Nate and Zoe were like, no, screw you.
Yeah,
I don't have anything.
Nate's particularly
I
hard on
don't
her.
really.
Like what? You didn't install a firewall on this thing?
I mean, yeah, you should. They should have, but she should have. But yeah,
Right.
I really like the fact that Mayor Evox is like just my smirking in the background after like he.
Right. He's just watching the chaos unfold in front of him with glee.
Yeah, and that just made me more entertained.
Yeah.
And they just did everything behind, like, because of the mayor's influence, like the general just did everything behind the great power force's back, and that is quite hilarious, to be honest. Like, it's quite really good episode. Like, as far as character conflicts go, even the fact that Nate Bigra later acknowledged the fact that Megan is actually brilliant in what she does because she was able to replicate his technology and make it better. Like, putting battle mode in the Lion Sword was like that. Like, Nate's plan would have worked if not for that defensive mechanism, and I really like the sword fight in this episode. And even the civilian fight where like they all fight Blaze and Roxy was also good. There's the one thing that I kind of didn't like is the fact that I wish the arrow thing that they have, the new weapon. I wish while using that to fight against Robo Roxy, they would have put more force while pulling the weapon. I know that thing is heavy, but if the suit actor had just put more force while pulling the weapon, it would have been looked a lot cooler. And
Uh,
other than that, other than the finishing blow, everything else was really well done. Like, most of this is like, what do you call it, American only footage.
uh, outside of the Zords, yes.
Yeah, outside of the Zords, that's what I mean. And I do enjoy the character. I did enjoy Megan. Like, Megan's character arc from the first these two episodes was really well built. In my opinion, it's not that it's believable change. Unlike the fact that and enough time had passed to make for you to be like, okay, I don't mind that. Unlike the, what do you call it, the lady from episode 2 who just saw the turtle and like, oh, I'll give you all my money.
Right, because that's how that works.
Yeah.
And now,
So
Megan gets to go build a frog submarine.
hope so. uh, I did like this episode. What about you?
Yeah, this was actually a good episode. Like, I kind of got a little sick of Nate, with his attitude, but like, I can't blame him.
Yeah.
But otherwise, yeah, no, pretty solid episode.
Okay, there's one episode that actually got boxed in that about it was an Olympic special,
Yes,
but this
that's actually the
Olympic.
next one we're gonna talk about. It's the one where Ravi turns into a 6-year-old.
Come on, I want to go watch the Pan Global Games like in
Like,
Power Rangers Universe.
like
Okay,
okay,
that I really like the fun. Huh?
I can understand that Ravi would oh, he wanted to go watch the events, and oh man, he's upset that his ranger duty's gone the way. But the part where he blames his teammates for not trying hard enough to fight the monster without him is like, okay, dude, shut the fuck up.
That's one thing. I feel this episode was written in a vacuum. Like, you don't count his characterization from season 2 or season 1 or whatever growth he has gone through, and you don't count anything after that. It just like this episode was just written separate from the feels like it was written separately from the rest of the season,
And I feel
and that's kind of where I have a problem with it.
And I feel like if any of these characters would be the one to like turn into a child over this situation, Ravi would be the last one on the list.
Last one, yeah. If they had given this to Steel or even Devin,
Yeah, Devin was first
or
on the list.
yeah, or even Zoe could have been. Sorry. They could have gone with anybody except Ravi, and this episode would have worked fine.
And like it doesn't even come back later when like Devin gets trapped in the boxing ring and they have to break him out because it's like I don't feel like this correlates to Ravi learning his lesson.
Yeah, because like just give it to someone else, and the lesson would have been
Give
fine.
give it to Devin and it would have been great because he all right, Devin blames his teammates for not trying hard enough without him, and then he gets singled out and has to fight by himself and realizes like, hey, this is actually pretty hard.
Yeah,
And it would have worked. But other than
yeah,
that,
yeah. Other than that, it was quite fun. I like the fact that in the background they have the poster for the Ninja Steel Gold Ranger, who's a country music singer.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, it is. It's blink it and you miss it kind of thing. Like not
Ah,
blink it and you miss it. Like it was just a few. It was there for a few seconds. You could notice it, but if you have not seen the season, it doesn't matter. But I do like the fact that they use the specific term pan global games, which is the Olympics in Power Rangers, which Kimberly just left the MMPR team to be a part of. Back in the what do you call it in season 3.
yeah.
That I really like the fact that they brought that back. At least it makes the Power Ranger world one, and you know feels like it's a shared continuity. Still, that's one of the best things about. To be honest, that is the best things about Power Rangers that is not there in Sentai.
Right. Power Rangers is more of a continuous storyline.
Not continuous storyline. Just the world of Power Rangers is continuously
Yeah.
building on each other. Like Sentai, like it feels like this. What do you call it? And there's a believable explanation to why some seasons like Dino Charge and RPM are in a separate universe. And so that it doesn't contradict with like whatever lore that is established in the previous seasons. Like in Dino Thunder, like the dinosaurs wiped out by the meteor and that turned into Dino Gems. In Dino Charger wiped out because the main villain just dropped an asteroid on the Earth. So yeah, and so you can just finagle around it, but you couldn't do that without making it an alternate universe. So that's where I do like the fact that they are still doing the world building in this season as well. Like more so than others, more so than Megaforce, which was supposed to do that. But yeah,
Right.
this episode was this episode was fun. Just didn't fit the character that they were using as the guinea pig.
So, moving on to the last episode of discussion, and possibly the most important one Secret Struggle. In order for Evox to maintain his disguise as the mayor, he needs a supply of Morphex. But the problem with this episode is that Blaze and Roxy can't just walk up and hand him Morphex in broad daylight. And so when Roxy gets busted, it turns into a situation of, oh no, they're trying to kidnap you, Mayor. We're gonna have to put you under constant 24-hour surveillance. I actually like this episode. This is a really good one.
And it also makes like the villains also are like it's like in some it's a trope in even in Sentai, Kamen Rider, even in movies and stuff where the villains are like when the villains are competent, they are portrayed as really competent, and when they are incompetent, they are portrayed as really incompetent. Here they are like kind of portrayed as realistic, where they have to also make things up as they go along. And that aspect I really enjoy. The fact that Roxy is like, oh shit, I have to act in this way so that they don't He's become
Right.
suspicious of the mayor,
When Evox is
and that
just
was
like, she's trying to kidnap me, and Roxy just immediately goes with it, like, how dare you try to stop my plans?
great. And yeah, and the fact that Steel was put two and two together about Nate and Zoe, like when Zoe was like, yeah, work, and when Steel was like, work in my sword. No, I'm tired. And then Zoe came in and worked on my sword, and I'm like, okay, Zoe, I'll work on it all right.
Still just like, wait a second. Does he like you? It's okay if Steele says it because he actually is a 6-year old.
Yeah. And that was really, and I really do, and I really like the fact that Zoe and Nate were like, okay, we do like each other, but we are not gonna date each other because that's against the rules.
Right.
You can't stop feeling, and and the and that I aspect I really did like, and the fact that the commander later on like, and the commander was suspicious of like what do you call it? Commander thought that they were actually cheating. That was kind of when the noodle ramen thing happened. But Steel was trying to be a wingman again,
Right.
and
When it's like, alright, we're gonna need to put some rangers on watch duty on the mayor. And Steele's like, hey, how about Nate and Zoe do it?
uh, and the fact that they lost the sight of the mayor immediately after he had lunch with the diplomat. Immediately, once they were got busy, mayor was like, "Okay, I gotta go get some more fix."
I love that Steele's plan to get Zoe and Nate together was to knock over Nate's food so that they had to share in a fucking Lady in the Tramp moment.
Yeah, and then Nate is so clumsy that he even drops the second one. Nah, yeah, that was really cute to be honest. I really found this episode entertaining. Um,
It was really cool to also see like Blaze and Roxy's desperate struggle of like how do we get the Morphex to Evox.
yeah, and it's been I think, and finally after like one, two, three, four, five, six, 7 episodes that we actually got Blaze and Roxy being the Blaze and Roxy in season one with personality and charm when they're inside the suit. Like inside the suit, like when they're outside the suit, they are the same characters, and like I feel that they do their job well as villains. But when they just go inside the suit, I don't know, they just felt more. And I think robotic would be a good word, but that would be it would feel like they are intentionally been doing that instead of you just don't feel like the same characters this season except in after this I think this episode like okay finally you're back to being the interesting villains inside the suit again.
Which where are the real Blaze and Roxy anyways?
They have a different job.
Okay, they just don't exist on the show.
Yeah, so basically they just wrote like Blaze teaches karate, he's going back teaching his karate job, and then Roxy just works for his company, so her company. So
All right, you broke up there, but I was able to catch the gist of that.
okay, Roxy works for her own, like for her family company, and Blaze is doing teaching karate. So
Okay,
I wish we saw them occasionally, but would have
so
been pretty good if they just showed up. But I think it's because the highlights on the air that they're making sure that they don't have to keep on doing the makeup again and again.
so uh, Zoe gets her badass moment where she uses the new sword Nate made to solo Blaze and Roxy herself,
That was really cool.
and even
Zoe's
does
got a really okay.
I was gonna say, and like even when she gets knocked out of her transformation, she does the finisher untransformed.
Yeah, and she got and her solo morph and the fact that she went to the her paralyzer form like you know alone was really good because we don't see that often with female rangers and even in Sentai occasionally. Like we haven't seen at least in Power Rangers we haven't seen it for a while, but and which was really cool. I do like that fact that like Zoe finally came. And like Zoe was always great, but she just never had a moment where like okay, Zoe was cool here for a long time, and this was the episode where I'm like Zoe is a badass.
Yes.
Yeah, and yeah, that was really and I like and yeah, and then the fact that in the end Neo is like he's been so starved for more sex, he's like he's desperately trying to find some.
And then at the end, he's just desperately trying to run away when he's going to transform anyways, but they're all like, wait, what's wrong? You look sick, and are following him.
Yeah, cause and especially like Devin, like that reveal of that I really like the fact that Ruby with Travis like he goes close and then when he transforms into Ewok he just jumps back. I really like the that subtle what do you call it? A subtle moment of physical acting that he did. And even his expression in his face when the mayor was revealed to be Ewoks was I we could see that you were devastating for him just with his facial expression, and that I really did like.
And so now the heroes know that the mayor and Evox are trapped in the same body.
Yeah, and that's a really good cliffhanger to end the season and the half act actually. Uh, that's good.
Yeah, this was a good episode to like do this podcast on.
Yeah, and like season two is not bad, but some episodes, just the first three, and then the one with the security guard, just soured it for me.
Right. Like I think that was the episode where we messaged each other like, do we really want to do this?
Yeah.
I think it might have been earlier than that one, but I was definitely
No,
feeling it.
it was
It was
episode
that
three. It
one.
was the
Oh my.
yeah, it was the video game one.
So
Uh, I was good thing that at least there were good episodes that actually salvaged the season. I
yeah,
hope the next
and
half
like
seems to be good because the we have the Dino crossover, we have Doctor K possibly showing up, and also we have the finale and the build up to it to look forward to. Because regardless of what like regardless of in season one, I really like how they built towards the finale. I wish we got as good or even better than that as far as build up goes, and that would be pretty. I hope there's Australian elements because I didn't want to wait.
and when does Jason David Frank return to fight a robot version of himself?
Oh, that was last year.
Yeah, I know. I still don't get it. I saw the clip of it and I'm like, what is going on? When did this happen? And I found out it was a ninja stone. I'm like, what? How? What does this have to do with ninjas fighting demons?
Okay, in Industry they were not demons; it was rather like aliens from space.
Oh, that's right. King told me about it. Oh man, King told me some really dumb stuff.
Yeah, last season was dumb.
Oh, something about
It is
brothers
as
that.
bad. I'll just say, if you it is as bad as Ninja.
Oh,
So yeah, this was Power Rangers Beast Morphers. I'm hoping like I'm pretty. I think I'm confident-ish that the next half is going to be good. At least we'll have a lot of enjoyable episodes because who doesn't like a good crossover? But yeah, it is gonna be fun.
so thanks for joining us today, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow to do our podcast on the Kamen Rider Gaze Majesty movie, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for listening.